You know, there were times when, I don't know, not I think Eubank would retire, but the first fight was incredibly physically taxing on both men. You know, both men ended up eventually that night in hospital, and Eubank was there for several days. And there was definitely a feeling of, are they going to want to run it back? I mean, the money's obviously huge, but do you want to go to those places again?
I salute you, mate, and you know, well done for winning the first fight. It takes two to tango. We both delivered. We both done what we needed to do, and I'm gonna iron you out second time round.
The boxing world is once again on fire as the highly anticipated Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch finally happens. The press conference was the perfect setup, full of drama and tension, with the two fighters not wanting to back down. Conor Benn got straight to the point, clearly threatening Eubank and announcing he won't be afraid when the bell sounds.
I salute you, mate, and you know, well done for winning the first fight. It takes two to tango. We both delivered. We both done what we needed to do, and I'm gonna iron you out second time round.
Nigel Benn, Conor's father, also had a lot to say. He acknowledged that during the first bout, Conor fell short in a few key areas, but he made it evident that they have returned to the drawing board. Nigel says the weaknesses have been found, the changes have been implemented, and this camp was all about plugging those holes.
Chris won on volume, and Conor was still trying to fuel him out there with one shot, you know, fueled with hate. So we both know that, and Tony, I'm sure, will have said there's more shots needed. We heard that in between rounds.
Tony Sims,
Tony Sims, more shots needed, more feints needed. Use that jab to create other opportunities rather than just trying to score with the jab, just touching with the jab to get a reaction. They know what to do. This fight will be about who's much more clinical. Do I think Chris has got much more left in the tank at this level? I think the playing field is much more level than I thought it was going in.
Conor Benn himself echoed the same sentiments, displaying a more mature persona following the grueling first bout. He confessed he needed to be more disciplined, and this camp has been about patience and accuracy. He admitted that previously he allowed emotions to get the better of him, but now it's about calculated pressure and choosing his shots wisely.
But the moment never come because I never picked my shots. There was no shot selection, you know. So it's just a matter of just using this experience now. It's that experience gained, lessons learned from the first fight. Now just be more disciplined.
Benn also took fans by surprise with a candid admission regarding his strategy. He indicated that pursuing a knockout is no longer his agenda this time around. Rather, his sole preoccupation is winning, be it by unanimous decision or a referee stoppage. This indicates his change in mindset from raw aggression to clever implementation.
I'm not looking for a knockout. I don't want to talk about a knockout. You know, I see Johnny Nelson saying that he thinks I'm going to knock him out second time round. Everybody, I'm not looking for the knockout. I'm going to give you lot one hell of a fight, but ultimately the priority for me is the win.
Eddie Hearn put more fuel on the fire during the hype when he confessed he never thought this rematch would actually take place. Following the destruction and upheaval of their initial encounter, Hearn wasn't sure the stars would align for a rematch. But even with those reservations, he assured that it is finally all worked out, and the fight is set now to provide another night of unforgettable boxing fireworks.
You know, there were times when, I don't know, not I think Eubank would retire, but the first fight was incredibly physically taxing on both men. You know, both men ended up eventually that night in hospital, and Eubank was there for several days. And there was definitely a feeling of, are they going to want to run it back? I mean, the money's obviously huge, but do you want to go to those places again?
After securing the rematch, Eddie Hearn's tone improved, and he issued a bold statement regarding Conor Benn's improvement. Hearn reiterated that this version of Benn will be much better than what fans witnessed in the initial bout. He is convinced that Conor is mentally sharper, physically stronger, and primed to take Eubank to the absolute limit. For Hearn, this rematch is not just another bout, it's the opportunity for Benn to prove he has stepped up and to make the fight much more competitive than it was before.
And just ready to see, I think, round 13, really, or Benn Eubank 4. Which is what it is in this incredible family rivalry.
Yeah. And do you think Eubank will let you get a word in edgeways this time?
I don't really know what to do. He's a great planner. You know, like he really thinks about what he's going to do. I'll just turn up. I've not even thought about it. Yeah. Maybe I should start planning about what I'm going to do and say. There's not a lot to say other than watch the first fight and know that we're going to come better this time. You know, Conor was really inactive going into that first fight. It was his first fight at 160, and up until the end of the 10th round, I couldn't split him, and Eubank finished really strong, won the fight in a thriller, and Conor's well up for the second one, and it's going to be another war.
As ever, however, Chris Eubank Jr. demonstrated why he's a maestro of the mind. During the press conference, he did not hesitate to crank up the pressure, getting into Conor's head by taking another dig at Nigel Benn. Eubank lives off psychological games, and by bringing Conor's father into the exchange, he hit a nerve yet again. Again, as it was before, the press conference became ugly quick, with Eubank proving he can't get in Conor's head before they even get in the ring.
I'm just letting you know, if your hand ever touches me again, you won't get it back.
Shut your mouth. Do you hear me?
No.
Con, do you hear me? Threaten my dad.
He couldn't. Conor,
silly bollocks. Threaten my dad again. Watch what happens to you.
Eubank didn't stop there. He ridiculed how Conor behaved after losing their first bout, saying Benn behaved like he had won. These jibes stung as they had called into question Conor's pride and mentality. Eubank was not slow to point out that when the bell went and the dust had settled, he was the one with his hand in the air and clowning Benn's post-fight attitude.
You know, this was the first time in my life that I've ever seen a fighter lose and then go on some type of victory tour. This guy.
No, there was
this
no.
guy was
there
going
was
to
no,
events.
There was no.
He was
victory
doing
tour.
interviews.
Listen, we were
buying cars.
Chris, no, that was your car that you gave me.
Fans.
That was the 500 grand for your unprofessionalism that gave me that car.
You flew over to America. You're taking pictures with people. Oh, I'm so grateful for the love and the support the fans are showing me. You're going on like you won. You do understand you lost, right?
Do you want me to finish?
He had all 10 toenails.
You do understand you lost, right? I mean, the
I was
illusion
ready.
of this guy.
Listen, Chris. The reality is, while you were sipping food for a straw, I was back in the gym after the fight, ready for September 20th.
Not even the face-off would Eubank relent. Rather than keeping quiet, he drew out the moment, whispering, smirking, and maintaining the psychological pressure on Benn, and the face-off was strained, charged, and prolonged as Eubank acted as instigator to perfection. This was not merely a stare-down, it was another opportunity for him to get under Benn's skin. For the audience, it was obvious. Eubank is already attempting to claim victory outside the ring before the bout is even started.
Bye.
Eubank's attacks weren't just reserved for Conor. In a stunning turn of events, he set his sights on promoter Eddie Hearn. He leveled an accusation against Hearn of interfering in the first fight by blocking off the ambulance. For Eubank, this wasn't merely about Benn, it was about targeting everyone within rage, sowing chaos and command simultaneously.
I'm in this ambulance.
Jesus, not a toenail.
I'm in the ambulance, and
You still got it?
these scumbags blocked that ambulance from leaving the stadium for 20 minutes.
By the way, this is an intrigue. Go on, keep going, because this is all being noted.
20 minutes.
Absolute waffle.
20 minutes.
Waffle.
Locked in.
Waffle.
I'm laying there in a gurney, oxygen mask on, and the car cannot move. They will not open the gates to let us leave.
Eddie Hearn wasn't shy with his reaction. In a scathing post-conference interview, he blasted Chris Eubank Jr. for the allegations. Hearn appeared incensed, labeling the remarks outrageous and disrespectful. He stated Eubank went too far and he wasn't going to let such accusations pass. The venom in Hearn's tone made it obvious this rivalry is no longer between fighters alone.
All you want to do is play the victim, make these wild accusations that you will pay for. Because I'm not having someone accuse me and my organisation of stopping an ambulance. Are you absolutely off your rocker? And we will see what will happen on there. People, they don't even know. There's a log on the night with the paramedics with the British Boxing Board of Control that log exactly what happened. So let's see if Matchroom or me stopped an ambulance on the night. Gloves had horsehair in. The gloves are approved by the British Boxing Board of Control, trying to disrupt them with the weight. It's the contract that they signed. That was different up there tonight. I also wanted to say a few words that I weren't even allowed to say, even when he knew what I was trying to talk about. He ain't a decent bloke, I'm telling you. And, you know, he wants to portray himself, and now he's the people's champ.
And Benn's camp wasn't innocent in escalating the tension either. Shalom disclosed that it was Benn's camp who forcefully advocated for a rehydration clause. He emphasized how ruthless such clauses are on the health of a fighter, weakening their strength and healing. However, despite the danger, Benn's camp viewed it as a necessary concession. It was a make-or-break clause for them to get the fight.
We aren't happy with the rehydration clause. Chris isn't committed to that rehydration clause again, as of yet. And the initial time it was put in front of us, it was an ultimatum. It was, the fight's not happening unless this. So Chris is in a difficult position then. Everything's been agreed. Everything. You're talking, we've gone through the contract, we've done every single clause. We get to the last moment. I think it was, if I remember, maybe just before the press conference or something, and then it was landed on us, an ultimatum like that. In the end, Chris is a money man and he accepted the challenge. Is it healthy? Is it right? Is it absolutely, should it be banned from boxing? Absolutely. Did Prince Crawford need a rehydration clause against Canelo? No, he didn't. And so I don't think it should not be used in this fight. Absolutely not. And people could say, oh, well, he missed the 160. He missed the 160 because of what was going on. And it was nothing to do with the weight, right? He missed it by half an ounce because of the timings and everything and the commotion that was going on in that weigh-in. And then he was given like 4 minutes to weigh in. It was one of the most ridiculous scenes I've had in boxing. The rehydration clause is what is a problem. And that is what should be not happening in this fight.
Surprisingly, Eubank dismissed the fears. He informed journalists that the clause of rehydration has not influenced him as much as others may have believed. He maintained he's as good as new and ready to go into the bout, strong and sharper than ever. Whether this is genuine confidence or bluffing at its best, only time will prove. Yet Eubank's body language did not betray any doubt, and if anything, what he wanted to say was that no contract stipulations or weight restrictions would shatter his determination.
I'm at home in these environments. For some it may seem hostile and aggressive, but for me, a press conference with the people that I'm going to be fighting and going up against over the next few months, I'm used to it. I live in this environment. This is what I do. So I had fun in there, you know. I've started camp life. You know, I'm on a routine. I'm training twice a day. I'm eating specific foods. I'm waking up in the mornings. You know, my body's slowly morphing into what you will see on fight night. You know, cut, shredded, fully focused, and yeah, I can't wait. You know, Dubai is kind of my home. I have a home there, and you know, it's all about being responsive to how you feel. You know, you learn your body over the years. You know when you need to take a rest day. You know when you need to push yourself. I'm training twice a day, every day, but sometimes, yeah, you need to take a break. Sometimes you might have to have a cheat day when it comes to food. But you know, everything in moderation. Obviously, you want to stick to your regime. You want to stick to, you know, the times, the schedule, and work on things which are going to prepare you for the fight. And yeah, I guess I'm a master at that now after 38 fights and 14 years in the game. The experience makes it easier, but obviously as you get older, you know, there are little things that change. It becomes that little bit harder to make the weight. You know, it takes you a little bit more time to recover from a little injury or a niggle. That's what happens as you get older. But you have the experience to counterbalance that. So yeah, I'm very confident going into this rematch.
Rounding out the equation, Eubank's trainer Brian "Bomac" McIntyre emphasized his father's improvement. Bomac described that the camp unleashed a whole new degree in Eubank, not only in terms of skill but personality as well. In his view, Eubank has matured in discipline, owned his boxing IQ, and evolved into a fighter who can think on his feet. The message was loud and clear: this is not Eubank Jr. who battled Benn the first time. This is an improved version ready to take over.
You know, you just gotta be real with the fighters as a trainer. You know, tell them what you expect. You know, what we expect in the training camp, what we expect in the fight, and get them to buy into, you know, that he's a great fighter.
And Chris Eubank Jr. has had issues with trainers before. He's had loads of different ones.
Chris is cool, man. You know what I'm saying? I like working with him. I like his team. You know, he listens, and he go out there and get the job done.
That thought even hushed some previous critics. Earlier, Chris Eubank Sr. himself expressed frustration regarding his son's attitude and concentration, but now, with improved sight in camp, those perennial gripes seem to be dissipating. The mix of maturity, fresh coaching, and motivation from the rematch has spurred Eubank into another gear. To many fans, it's a sign that this fight will not be a carbon copy of the previous one, but a new fierce battle between two improving warriors.
Can he win this fight?
David Hay called me the other day and said,
He doesn't spar, he does everything that he wants to do. He's got yes men around him. And so it seems to me, by what David Hayes said to me, that he's still not listening. And so I don't know, because I don't watch anymore, because I have a...
Family legacies are at stake, promoters are at odds with each other, and rehydration clauses have been tossed into the mix. This is becoming one of the most unpredictable and emotional battles ever, so don't miss the breakdowns, don't miss the drama. Subscribe now because this war is just getting started.